The State of Crypto is presented by Tron, connecting the world to the power of cryptocurrency.
All right, for our first story of the day, Sam Bankman-Fried is offering up a new mea culpa. In a letter shared internally in FTX's company Slack and obtained by CoinDesk, the former FTX CEO says he, quote, froze up in the face of pressure, end quote, as his crypto empire collapsed. Joining us to discuss this is Nick Day. He's the managing editor of global policy and regulation at CoinDesk. Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Hey, good morning.
All right, man. So this letter was leaked yesterday. There definitely was several things that stood out to me, but I wanted to ask you what stood out about this latest mea culpa from SBF.
It's an interesting look at, I think at Sam Bankman-Fried's mindset. He kind of gives an explanation for just how things fell apart the way they did, but he very also noticeably does not address a lot of the more serious allegations that have come out over the last couple of weeks. He doesn't talk about, the possibility that customer funds were misappropriated, that corporate funds were used to buy personal properties. He briefly sort of addresses that and says, most of the, funds, I think it's like largely went towards, other business purposes, but largely is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that. This is the same day that we saw a presentation from FTX's bankruptcy lawyer saying something like $300 million worth of company funds went towards vacation homes and other real estate in the Bahamas. So it's really interesting both for what it says, but also for what it really omits, I think.
What's he doing opening his mouth? I mean, look, the more rope we hand him, he just hangs himself with it. But nonetheless, it doesn't sound like anybody's telling him, hey, Sam, just stay away from the computer for a little while. Let the big boys handle this. Just go away. I mean, why is he doing this?
Honestly, I don't have an explanation for this. I think we spoke about this last week. I spoke to several lawyers, all of them were, pretty much unanimous in saying the best thing that Bankman-Fried can do right now is stop talking, stop tweeting, stop engaging with the public at large, and just let the lawyers handle it. Clearly, that's not happening. He's spoken to reporters. He's spoken to people who post things on Twitter. He's now written this letter to which, as far as I can tell, he doesn't have access to the company's Slack anymore because he's no longer an FTX employee. So he had to ask another current FTX employee to post this letter in the Slack for him, and someone else then shared it with reporters such as us. So he seems very determined to get his message out, whatever that may mean.
Nick, just turning to another topic for a moment, what's up with Binance US trying to form a PAC? I think it's a kind of an interesting story.
Yeah, so we got some documentation yesterday, not a lot of information to be honest, but Binance US is forming a political action committee, presumably for the 2024 presidential election. We're seeing crypto get more and more involved in lobbying. Bankman-Fried, of course, was a prolific donor to politicians and campaigns, but we're seeing a lot of other crypto companies over the last year or so especially really try to get more involved in politics and in election cycles, especially after last year's infrastructure bill. So this seems to be just, another major crypto company getting involved. What's really interesting to me is that, this is Binance US, but Binance US is pretty, I think, inextricably tied to Binance at large, which is, of course, not a US company. So it'll be interesting to me to see how to try to navigate that particular question.